Good morning from Plant Reviews. Good morning in the UK where I am, and today is 7th of July, early summer, and I'll talk now about Tigridia pavonia, also known as tiger flower, even if actually this plant has a variety of names, and I will tell you everything or almost everything about it in a few seconds. This species is the best known species of Tigridia and is the type species. Tigridia is a genus of about 35 species of plants distributed from Mexico to Chile, so in Central and South America. They belong to the family Iridaceae in the iris family, and you can actually notice the similarity to the irises because of the leaves, the sword-shaped leaves that kind of resemble the ones of the irises and even more resemble the leaves of another species in the iris family, Crocosmia, about which I have made a video yesterday. And interestingly, the Crocosmia have done a video yesterday, Crocosmia lucifer, and also a beautiful species with red flowers, just as bright red as this variety of Tigridia pavonia I have in my allotment in a pot. Tigridia, the name of the genus, means tiger-like, and this is due to the spots in the center of the flower. Is a kind of blotchy appearance, as you can see, and it resembles indeed some of the fur of some of the big cats, even if to me really doesn't resemble much a tiger. Resembles more a leopard, I would say, because of the spots rather than the stripes. About the species pavonia, pavonia comes from pavo, that means peacock, indeed, in Latin. The common names of the plant indeed are tiger flower, but also peacock flower, as well as shell flower, Mexican shell flower, jockey's cap lily, tiger iris, or again tiger flower or peacock flower. This species come from Central America. It's distributed from Mexico to Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, but it's been naturalized in Ecuador and Peru. It is a very popular garden plant, and the species comes in a variety of color. This one in particular is the Tigridia pavonia varietas speciosa, that has bright red flowers with some areas of bright yellow. It is an absolutely gorgeous flower that unfortunately is not fragrant, but I still absolutely love the color. You know, I love red and orange flowers. The flowers are pretty big. They are about I would say at least 12 centimeters in diameter. It is indeed an extremely big flower. The shape is pretty much triangular. It has 3 big sepals and 3 smaller petals, and in the center you can see actually the anthers in a trilobed, in a kind of trilobed shape. I hope that I'll try to focus. Possibly if I put my finger nearby you will actually possibly focus on the anthers, indeed, and just next to the anther is also a kind of 6-lobed stigma. That is this one. I am sorry that the camera is not really on focus. I'll try maybe this way. Okay, yeah, and no, not really. Okay, now perfectly. Now you see indeed the anthers, that are these ones with the pollen, and the stigma in the central area. The plant is all about, I would say, my plant is about 60 centimeters tall, but it can grow to about 90 centimeters or even 1 meter, so about the size between 2 and 3 foot, 3.5 feet, I would say. The color of the leaves is bright green, and they have this very interesting kind of ribs on the leaves that run parallel to the main axis of the leaf, precisely like Crocosmias. The blooms, as I said, my flower variety, the Tigridia pavonia speciosa, is bright red. However, there's also other colors like white, pink, or yellow that are pretty much all loved by gardeners. Indeed, this plant is the corms of this plant. This plant is a bulbous plant, and it is very easy to find both in garden centers and online among the spring planting bulbs. It is also pretty cheap, absolutely not expensive. Usually bulbs are about £2, £2.50 for 10 bulbs. Usually they are in mixed colors. However, I bought this one online in red because as I just said, is my favorite color together with orange. The flowers are not very long lived. They open early in the morning and they close in the evening. They last basically only one day, and actually not even one day. However, the show that they put up on the plant is absolutely gorgeous. You can see how intense is the red on the petals, and how incredible is the contrast with this red halo near the center of the flower, and the three smaller petals are incredibly beautiful. They are pointy with the central yellow area against which the red dots contrast very strikingly. And again, in the center of the flower instead there is a kind of a pale yellow background on which there's dark red blotch appear. It is a really stunning flower. As you can see, it is one of the, I would say, the most bizarre and strangest flowers I have I've cultivated in the past years and in the current years, and definitely one of my favorite. However, even if the single flower doesn't last long, this is a plant that produces successions of blooms. You can see here a flower that has faded, and here there are some buds coming up. I decided to make this video today, even if I have just one flower at the moment, because I had several problems in allotment with slugs and snails, and I really didn't want to risk that the plants or the blooms to be ruined by slugs or snails in the next few days, because there's some rain forecasted, and I didn't want really to take any risk. So do not worry anyway if if the flowers last so little, because they are quite abundant. The flowers are produced abundantly by the plants throughout summer, and sometimes also in early autumn. The plants can be grown from seed, and actually this is one of the few bulbs in which the seeds are able to bloom after 1 year, even if sometimes they need a second year to reach full maturity. However, usually bulbous plants need at least 3 years for the plants to bloom, so Tigridia pavonia is really an early bloomer. A curiosity about this plant is that the bulbs are edible. Most of the bulbs plants that you know are extremely toxic. Instead, these ones are edible, and they have been used by Native Americans as food, and they have a kind of flavor similar to a chestnut. The Aztecs call this edible corms cacomitl, and they called the flower Oceloxoquitl, that means jaguar flower. And actually I think the jaguar flower is a much better name for this flower rather than tiger flower, because I think the spots and the blotches on the flower resemble way more the jaguar rather than a tiger that has stripes instead. As I said, it is an easy bulb to find both online and in garden center, and also it is can be hardy in parts of the UK. It is hardy in zone 8, so I would say in the southern and the mildest part of the UK. Otherwise, if you are a bit unsure of your area or temperature conditions, the bulbs are better lifted in autumn and put in a frost-free place. I already said that the plant is about 2 to 3 foot tall. This plant, as most bulbous plants, thrives in full sun and well-drained soil, and I have to say that in pots is an absolutely great way to cultivate this plant, because you have more control about slugs, snails, and obviously soil conditions, and you can ensure appropriate draining, especially in the area where I live, where soil is mostly clay, and my allotment in particular is near a river, so really sometimes the soil risks to get waterlogged. The flowers are pollinated mostly by insects, which is quite surprising to me, because most insects are red color blind, they can't see the red, but obviously, evidently, must be still attracted by this flower. I'm not sure actually about what type of insects pollinate this flower, because I know some red flowers are pollinated by particular kind of insects, like for example there is the orchid, there are orchids of the genus Disa, like if I remember correctly, Disa uniflora in South Africa, that is bright red and is pollinated by a butterfly that indeed is strongly sensitive to red color. But for example, most of the pollinators in the UK, like bees and bumblebees, as far as I remember, are absolutely blind to red. Even if yesterday during the video in the Crocosmia I saw a red-tailed bumblebee absolutely going crazy for the red Crocosmia flowers, so I suppose there must be some kind of sensitivity to the flower, or maybe what the color that to us appears red, to the insect eyes appears a different color in the ultraviolet spectrum, or in the spectrum to which they are sensitive. Therefore they are still able to get attracted by the flowers to pollinate. Bulbs, as I said, needs to be planted in a very well-drained soil, either loamy or sandy, and need full sun. Better to plant them as you usually will find them in spring, after the last frost date has passed. Bulbs need to be planted about 8 centimeters deep in spring. So now I'm so fond of this flower, and let's try to pollinate as in a very pretty easy way. I don't have tweezers today, so I will just stroke my finger on the pollen of the anthers and just gently rub on the stigma. Okay, it seems that I've done a bit of pollination. I really would like to get some more red Tigridia pavonia next year, and as you can see, it is the flower is now pollinated. I'm sorry that I have a little bit of sun in my eyes. I can't really check if it's on focus. No, I think yeah, I think now it is on focus, and you can see the pollen on the stigma, hopefully. Yeah, you can see the pollen on the stigma of the plant. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. The sun now, there is a cloud obscuring the sun. There's a little bit of sun again. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like the video and you would like to subscribe to my channel, this would be great, because in this way you would support my channel and you will also get updates when I post new videos. Also, if you don't like the video, I would be glad to know obviously the reason why you didn't like, and I'm very keen to listen to your comments down below to improve my video. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in my next video. Bye.